Hi, it's Abbey Dyer-Amenet, female entrepreneur and success strategist, and welcome to another episode of the Lead with Positivity Vodcast, where every week we have stories about female entrepreneurs around the world that are doing big things in their communities and putting their ideas into action. Today, I want to welcome Patience, and we're going to jump right in. Tell us a little bit about you and your business.
So, hi, my name is Patience Ogunbona. And I'm the founder of ATI Coaching, Consulting and Training Limited. So basically, I work with female leaders and entrepreneurs who consider themselves to be introverted. And my work with them is to help them overcome self-doubt, leverage their introvert strengths and personality so that they're able to create impactful presence, position themselves in the marketplace as an authority, as well as profit from their talents, their gifts, and develop leadership skills that would help them to thrive in life, in career, and in business. And I'm very much also someone who offers training as well in the area of leadership, inclusion, and diversity, as well as team dynamics and communication.
I love that. And I always appreciate those folks that are working with introverts, right? The people on our teams that have the toughest time, often standing out. Tell me a little bit about what motivated you to start your business and to kind of focus in this particular way.
For starters, I think it was all about fulfilling my full potential. I did one of my six core values is freedom. So for some people it might be stability, but mine was freedom, and I realized that I wasn't having that freedom to be, do, or have more in the way that was aligned to who I am and what I'm really looking for. And so that was the motivation to say, if not now, when? The kids were getting older and I was getting older, and I was thinking my energy is all going to be spent in a direction I did not want to continue to. I didn't see myself in the end of my life carrying on in that way. I needed to explore more about my potential. I started off generically, but as you well know, in business, you have to hone in on your niche and drill down on being an expert in a certain area. It does make a difference. So in 2020, what I call the year of the introvert.
Absolutely.
Because if you've watched Lord of the Rings, where he says, oh, the time of the elves is over, but the time of man is here. So if you say it in the Gandalf voice, it's like, oh, the time of the extroverts is over, and the time of the introverts. So basically, it was a quieter time. Life slowed down, and it helped me to kind of hone in on what is the lived experience that I haven't really brought into my business that will really help me make a difference to somebody like myself. Because it's always said that in business, you are trying to help people who are coming behind, who are also have experienced the things you have experienced, and now you have learned things and skills that you can use to support them. So that was how I niched down and realized that my lived experience will really help other introverted women either in the corporate world or in business.
I love that. I love how you kind of reflected on your life and went, have I quite done all that I hoped to do? Am I impacting the people that I really want to, and in a way that I want to, and reframed what you're working on? What would you say your greatest inspiration is, and why?
What really inspires me is people who seek to show others the way, develop leaders, other leaders. I'm really inspired by that a lot, because I think you can decide you want followers, and people just follow you and you're right in front. But based on the fact that my leadership style is servant leadership, I just believe that I want to raise people up to be leaders. That means help them to develop their full potential, self-lead, and achieve what they want in life. So a lot of people, for example, I belong to the John Maxwell team. So it's now called the Maxwell Leadership Team. And basically, the focus is all about leadership, leading with significance. So he inspires me a lot because it's all about the fact that our world is the way it is because people lack what true leadership means or doing it. So the people that are championing that, that really inspires me.
I'm going to go off script just a little bit because I too very much believe in servant leadership. And it's
Mm.
something that I pursue as a leader in the various businesses that I'm in. Tell me besides John Maxwell, who else really inspires you as a person, someone you really look up to and really fulfills what you're trying to move towards?
Mm. Somebody who has impacted my life for years is Joyce Meyer. And her first book that I read that really transformed me from who I was really was Battlefield of the Mind. And that book really was quite transformative. Helped me look at things like people pleasing, helped me look at things like self image, helped me look for the first time really, even before I knew about coaching or anything, what's going on in your mind. That's what's controlling your life. And I've followed her for years. It's like being woo woo in a sense because I subscribe to her material, and every time I feel stuck in something, she sends the right resource. It's like, Mama, you really know what I'm going through every time. So, and I think it's because she had been through a lot and did not allow herself to be defined by it. For somebody who was not parented right to really step out and to struggle with abuse from her own father and not live in bitterness about it, and really the number of books she's written, the passion she has for what she does. I met her when she came to the UK in Birmingham, and because I really love to see the people that I follow, it's not just about celebrity right there. So I sat down and I listened to her and I watched her energy. And yeah, she really inspires me in the way that she also tells you the truth. There is no messing about. There is no sugarcoating the truth with her. Slaps you in the face with it and you're like, wake up to that reality. So I like that. Yeah.
Very nice. I always like to hear from folks who are in all kinds of businesses, but definitely in leadership and who they find inspiration from. Because I think the people listening to this, right, can look at you and can look at the people that
Mm.
you aspire to and gain a lot of insight. So thank you for sharing that. So being a female entrepreneur can be challenging. And I know folks that are listening to this have dealt with that themselves. Tell me
Mm.
a little bit about one of your biggest challenges in your business. Let's say, aside from COVID, right, and kind of the challenges that have existed there, from whether it's mindset or automation or getting clients, talk a little bit about where you've had some challenges and how you've gotten past those.
Okay, I think with COVID, um, people, a lot of business moved online and it became noisier online. And you can't get away from the noise. It's also distraction, but it also creates things like FOMO, with fear of missing out. And it then creates the kind of comparison, competitiveness online. So for me, if I'm going to be honest about maybe some of the challenges, it's more of kind of how do you step away from the noise and just focus and be in your own alignment rather than look at what other people are doing and just feel distracted by it. That's one. I think the other one was always realizing that automation is king. You need to automate a lot of your processes to find that freedom that you seek. Many of us jump into entrepreneurship for freedom. It's like, oh, I need to take control of my life. And then you realize that your business is in control of your life until you take control back. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You start off and you think, oh, I own my business, but you realize I'm working in my business, not on my business. And the journey is to work on your business, to be the real CEO doesn't happen for a long time, because suddenly you realize I'm the cleaner, I'm the tea maker, I'm the videographer, I'm everything. And so that those are some of the challenges that I found, that I had to find which area is my core strength and focus on it, and learn to start delegating those weaknesses, those things that I'm really struggling with. Because in the long run, being the visionary, being the one building the business, that's what is going to be sustainable and create a successful business.
Thank you. I appreciate your honesty, right? Because there are times as female entrepreneurs that I think we feel very alone sometimes. And we do feel very overwhelmed when you're an entrepreneur, especially a solopreneur. It's just you,
Yeah.
right? So you're absolutely right. If you need a graphic designer, well, that probably is you, right? Now, automating, you also might delegate some things, but at least in the beginning, it's all you, and that can be daunting for folks. So thank you for sharing that. How about your biggest win as a female entrepreneur?
I'll say my biggest win came from actually deciding to niche down. Once I stopped being focused on trying to speak to everybody and sell to everybody and niching, it became a big win for me. I'm known for something, and I attract my dream client. I also find that my messaging became more streamlined, and I'm speaking to a particular person, as opposed to, say, when you're in business and you say women. I work with women, it's kind of like, yeah, there's so many types of women. So it's all, and being able to do that created lots of wins for me. I was able to create streamlined programs, streamlined resources. I would say that that became a focus. I also could look at myself and say, where is my expertise not up to scratch to serve this particular client? And that allowed me to then put my focus in. One of the areas was, I realized that if introverts, for example, developed assertiveness skills, and through developing their leadership skills, it could make all the difference. So I had to ask myself, how much of a leader am I? And what can I give them? And that made me to then focus more on developing my own leadership skills to direct other introverts as well. So I'll say there's been multiple wins from just having that focused niche.
That's a big topic, right? That's a big topic from a business perspective. And you are absolutely right. In order to be able to be messaging to the right people, you have to understand who your ideal client is. And that is so incredibly important. And for a lot of folks, incredibly difficult, right, to figure out. But it sounds to me like one of the things that you did was leverage your expertise, right? Your purpose, the things that you know and understand and have experienced. And that's really important to be able to start that process. It is noisy, like you said, and with COVID, it did get noisier, right? Yeah. Online just grew and grew, and all of the business materials would tell you that's not going to change, right? That is the direction we are moving in. I would love to hear a little bit more about your programs. So tell folks a little bit about what you do specifically in your programs to help introverts.
Okay, so my core program is called the Aligned Introvert Method, and it focuses on bringing ease to the way introverts do business. So, for example, we know that there's a difference in energy levels between extroverts and introverts. Overstimulation affects introverts, whereas extroverts are looking for stimulation to be able to feel energized and alive. So, in terms of my programs, I build in ways that you could, that's why I talk about presence as opposed to visibility. Visibility is built into presence in the sense that, and I talk about impactful presence. So, by that I mean I help you to show up powerfully with your message, and to find ways of making sure that that message is targeted and people identify you as a person of authority that they can lean on, they can follow, and you design things that align to your ideal client. That for me is one way that you can align yourself. The methodology allows you to not feel that you have to constantly be seen online, you know. So that's some of the things I build into my program. And I also know that introverts like connection a lot. So that's another knowledge that I bring is how do you connect? And instead of, and reframe things that people don't really like. So for example, is sales is serving. So when you think about it like that, as a servant leader, that resonates with me. And if you shift it from I'm trying to get people to buy something, no, I'm trying to serve people to get them what they are looking for, it makes all the difference. I'm trying to connect with them so there's no hard sell. Instead, I can sell by telling them stories of somebody that's like them and that I helped, you know. So those are some of the ways that I build this into my own marketing. I talk about networking and I help introverts with networking. So there's some things that introverts struggle with. And in my aligned introvert method, it means I put that in specifically understanding and sympathizing with the challenges to help them.
Very important. Very important. What do you find that helps you stay motivated, right? It has been a challenging couple of years, whether that is within business or outside of business. Tell folks how you stay motivated as a female entrepreneur.
Um, I'll be lying if I say, oh, it's something completely external. I'm a person of faith, so my faith keeps me going. It keeps me staying on the positive side of things. And I think people need that. That positivity is necessary in a world where there is a lot of negative to take in. So during COVID, I wasn't listening to the news as much as everybody else. And if you brought too much of the news to me, I would shut you off and unfriend you for a few months just so I can have quiet. You know, it's just because you can't be in it and really feel like you can breathe. So I think my faith helps me and keeps me motivated to work towards a purposeful life. But beyond that, I love people and I love seeing people get results. So the more I work with clients and see someone who had no business online, was afraid to show up, you know, one of my clients said, oh, 60 people signed up, 30 people appeared. I said, do you know what you've done? This is your first event. And it's so big. That's a big thing for someone who's struggled to kind of find air or find space in the business world. And suddenly, working together, I carve out their space for them and they can occupy that space and grow. That really motivates me to the next client, to the next thing, making a difference, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. How about one last piece of advice you would give other female entrepreneurs?
I would say the big advice based on the challenges I've said and based on the things that I hear a lot of people talk about as well as being challenging before I came, it's align to your strengths and work to those strengths. Ultimately, there is a quote that says that if you align to your strengths, the law of least effort applies, which means you can thrive in that area more than other people would because it's your area of strength. And in business, people who align to their area of strength and delegate their weaknesses or have other people around them to support the whole process will ultimately be successful. So that's one advice that I can give.
Absolutely. Very inspirational. I think that's really important. And I too believe that if we focus on our strengths, we are really focusing on the purpose that we have to help other people. So
Mm.
thank you so much for joining today on the Lead with Positivity podcast. Tell people how they can find you.
Okay, so I'm on all social media platforms, but I'm mostly on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn. But you can also find me on my website where you get a lot of resources, free resources, and resources you can buy. Um, and that is www.patienceogunbona.com. So my name together.com. So you can find lots of resources and find me there.
Wonderful. And thank you for those that are listening. We tell stories about women that are showing up big in their communities. We will make sure that Patience's information is available in the description along with this video. If you liked it, please like, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.